When I started the Bridge program, a 2-week program before school starts, I was introduced to a facility called IREF, where we would participate in a meeting called Toastmasters. IREF is a reentry facility who are men who are serving the last few years of their sentence and preparing them to go back into society. And Toastmasters is a group of those men in the facility who give speeches and work on their social skills to better themselves. In a typical Toastmasters meeting, we are given specific jobs, and we give speeches to the men there as well as them giving speeches to us. We critique each other on all the speeches given and get to have great conversations with each other. Going to IREF would help relate all 3 of my TLCs together, which stand for Themed Learning Communities. I wasn't quite sure how J101, R110, and V100 would relate, but sure enough it's possible to relate all 3 of these classes together by going to one facility every other Wednesday. When it comes to J101, you would think it would be completely obvious how you can relate this course to a correctional facility. Well, there is more than just being at a correctional facility that connects the things we do at IREF with this course. One of these things would have to be what we did as a class before we went to IREF. We had to take an implicit bias test to see what type of biases we have against people. This test showed us what to look out for in society and how to be careful about biases towards people in prisons. This helped me change how I have viewed the men at IREF and not label them as media often does. However, implicit bias is not the only thing that connects IREF and J101. The speeches we give and hear at IREF often have to deal with the criminal justice system and how things can get twisted in the system or what good things the system has. One example of this would be when one of the residents, Johnny, gave a speech about how the system's mandatory minimum sentencing for drug offenses had affected him, and how he had to do more time for drugs than a child molester, and how this has affected his life. Now, it is fairly easy to see how J101 relates to IREF, but surely enough, so does R110. So how does speaking relate to a correctional facility? It is actually the basis of what Toastmasters is all about. We literally give speeches every time we go to IREF. The men work on their skills, and we improve our own speaking skills. We must critique each other out loud to the entire class. But R110 isn't just about giving a speech. It's about learning how to get information across to people you don't know. It's about having confidence and being able to convey a point. This is what speaking to these men helps us do, and not only helps us, but helps them. They get to work on using their people skills for when they get out of IREF. Speech happens all around us, and not only in a formal way, but in an informal way. When we are sitting down at the tables with these men, just having conversations with them before the meeting starts. This is what we learn in speech class too. How to communicate properly in an informal setting when you're just having a conversation. Because no matter where you are and what you're doing, you're going to have to communicate with people. Seeing as speaking to these men and these men speaking to us is the purpose of the class, now you can see how R110 completely fits in with IREF and the things we do at Toastmasters meetings. Now, the hardest thing for me to connect would have to be my V100 class. How has IREF helped me grow as a person? How can I share this in the future? Well, personally, I would have to start by saying IREF has been a wonderful experience. I say this because I feel going to IREF helps expand your views of the prison system and the people in them. I learned to be more open-minded because of IREF. I also learned that being able to share this with others can help change their views and the way my mind was changed. Even though my views were changed slightly and I've learned to be more open to others, I personally can't say I ever had that wow moment at IREF when it all clicked. There were good times there and there were memories made, but nothing that felt life-changing. However, I can say it was a good experience, even though it wasn't life-changing. It became a good experience because of the conversations I had with these men, and being able to see that even though people make mistakes, it doesn't make them bad people. And being able to see that for myself firsthand has helped make the IREF experience something worth doing. The last meeting I went to, one of the men had me laughing so hard I snorted really loud and started crying because of how hard I was laughing. Being able to have that memory and being able to see that even with a troubled past, this man was funny and kind helped show me that it never hurts to give someone a second chance. For future reference, I would talk to people about IREF and encourage people to go, if not only to have the realization that I had about people's character, in hopes that maybe even without that wow moment, people can learn to respect others the way I did by going to IREF. This is what I got out of going to IREF and my V100 class. J101, V100, R110, and IREF all sound like unlikely partners. However, they make the best of companions when it comes to Toastmasters. Going to a facility where you can work on changing your implicit biases, communication skills, and general life skills is an amazing thing. You learn so much just after a few visits to IREF, and you make so many connections that will last you a lifetime. I've come a long way from the Bridge program just a few short months ago, and part of that is due to the things that I have learned at IREF. Learning about how what really matters is a person's character and that people make mistakes. Learning how to get over the implicit biases I have towards people in prison due to the media and things I have learned growing up, but also learning how to communicate better and about how important communication is between people in society. Just a few visits at IREF have helped me discover all of these things. What will become of your IREF experience?